Hey, what's up you guys? You're watching Team APS, Paul here.
And Alec.
And today we're going to be tackling the archetype problem in Yu-Gi-Oh!
And that is a very complex problem indeed. We've all ranted about it. There have been Reddit posts about it. We've made videos about it.
Yeah, plenty. So what do we mean by that? So Yu-Gi-Oh's got a lot of archetypes. Like, honestly too many. You know, we've mentioned this before. There's a lot of archetypes and there's a lot of problems with those archetypes. Some are under-supported.
Some are overpowered.
Some just are cool but don't make the cut and you forget about them.
Abandoned.
Sometimes it's like, oh, this is supposed to get new support and then the support doesn't come out, or when's this archetype going to get support? I've been waiting for years.
Yeah, what, it doesn't come out or it comes out too late?
So we have a solution that we are proposing. It's actually from a different card game though.
That's right. It's inspired by Cardfight Vanguard. A lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players are familiar, but in case you aren't, it is another card game. It doesn't compete with Yu-Gi-Oh, I don't think. It's just its own thing. But Cardfight, it approaches archetypes very differently.
Yeah, so he's a resident Vanguard player here.
I play, I'm not
this.
great.
I don't play this, so you've got the floor.
Okay.
What's Vanguard do?
So Vanguard, they approach the idea of a trading card game a bit differently. Instead of kind of meandering towards the archetype style of play that we have now, because you know Yu-Gi-Oh for a long time didn't even really use their archetypes, but Vanguard embraced it from the get-go. See, Vanguard has clans, and when the game first came out, there were only a handful of clans.
Right.
They'd release a new clan with like a trial deck, or they call them trial decks. For us, I guess that would be like our starter decks or structure decks. And then they'd release like sets, like boxes, and the boxes will contain like new, and only a few new clans, and then a few supporters for the clans that came out previously. What this did was it created a very slowly yet perpetually changing metagame.
So, okay, I have a question then.
What you got?
About how many clans are there in Vanguard? Or I guess we'll call those archetypes. How many are there in Vanguard?
There's like a bit more than 20.
Okay.
And which is hilarious because Yu-Gi-Oh has...
I think Yu-Gi-Oh's going like 200 now.
Yeah.
And depending on what you call an archetype, I think Yu-Gi-Oh's got like somewhere in the upper hundreds of just those. Okay.
And for better or for worse, Yu-Gi-Oh is much more of a diverse game.
Yeah. So with Vanguard, it's each clan or archetype gets kind of rotated support, is what you're saying?
Exactly. So throughout the course of I call it a cycle. A Vanguard, a more seasoned Vanguard player probably have more definite terminology, but I call it a cycle. So when Vanguard wants to implement a new like mechanic, or they want the metagame to now take a step forward, like how we got synchros and exes, that type of thing, what they do is throughout the course of a year they'll release sets and like trial decks that update these clans.
Oh, okay.
And each one will get an update by the time before that cycle is done. So it doesn't matter what your favorite clan or archetype was, it will get support, it will get to use the new mechanic, and it will be better, roughly.
Yeah. So wait, so what clan do you play?
So I play Spike Brothers.
Okay.
They're a clan based around like American football and rugby, so that's why I like them.
So how has it, just for someone who doesn't know a lot about Vanguard, how has it changed throughout the years? I guess it's gotten like routine support that sort of...
Oh yeah. So I got a crash course. Because I really played Vanguard when it first came to the States. So I played the very old beginning version of Spike Brothers. But that's what I knew. I recently got a collection of Spike Brother cards, and I got a trip down history, or I guess not history, about memory lane. Not my memory, because I wasn't there for it. I stopped playing Vanguard, but this collection had all the Spike Brother cards I missed out on, and I saw how they updated the archetype over time, adding brand new cards, new mechanics, new win conditions, but the same basic strategy stayed the same.
I guess the theme as well.
And as they added new things, like they added more powerful monsters and more and a diversified type of effects were in the game that reflected in the updates. So the game got more complicated, and Spike Brothers stuck with it. If Yu-Gi-Oh! Did something like that, that means when Dark Magician came out, instead of just getting a random assortment of Yu-Gi's cards, let's say you got a deck that's really centered around Dark Magician. It's not great, but it's perfect for the time it's being released. But when we get fusions, so
it'll add fusion support to it.
It'll add fusion support to your deck. It'll raise the ceiling on your deck a bit more. And then when we get synchros, it'll get synchros.
The same.
And the same thing is happening to every other deck in the game at the time. So,
yeah, within kind of set intervals.
Yeah, within a period of a year, every deck will get one round of support that updates it, gets it nice and fresh, changes up the ceiling, sometimes changing the way they play.
Alright, so I think this would actually work really great in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I see so many comments, just on the internet where it's like, when do Inzectors get new support? When will my Blackwings get new support? Six Samurai, Heroes, these beloved decks where like it's just like, oh, this hasn't gotten support in ages, when's it going to get new cards?
And when we do get support, it's really lackluster.
So with this, we'd be kind of guaranteed that every archetype gets the new support, and that it will not just be new support, it will like kind of update it to the speed and pacing of the game.
Yeah.
So it kind of combats power creep.
Exactly.
In a way.
Your favorite deck you're not being beat by power creep. You don't have to claim, a power creep. Instead, you're riding the wave. There's nothing to complain about. Unless your deck hasn't been supported. And that, I know that kind of sucks, the idea that, what if your deck is the last one to get updated?
Right.
I mean...
but at least you get to know it will.
Yeah, it will get updated, and it doesn't mean that the next cycle your deck will be last again. They can switch it up. Your deck might be the first one updated next time, so you get to take advantage of the mechanics the longest.
Less archetype overload. Yeah. In theory, with this, we would have maybe just, 24 Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetypes, right?
Yeah.
Roughly.
About, 20-something.
Yeah, like 24 archetypes.
If we're nice, 30.
And they get kind of just, rotated through support. Maybe we introduce a new one once a year, twice a year, something like that.
Yeah.
So that way there's less overload. There's less, of all these archetypes, like Tindangles and Trimids.
What were they called? Meliseverus?
Yeah, just stuff that, comes out and you just don't remember what it is, and it doesn't have enough support to be good. It's like it gets forgotten.
Apologize if you like any of these things we just named.
The guarantee of support. So basically, like we said, you don't have to worry about when will I, get support or will my deck ever get better. It will.
And with a more curated Yu-Gi-Oh, we don't have to be scared of the ban list so much, man.
Yeah, you don't have to fear the ban list, and I think this would mean tighter deck balance. Because, Konami, if this is what they were doing, could kind of ensure that these archetypes are closer together in power disparity. The big problem I have with Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes is how there's those archetypes where it's it's designed to be broken.
Out the box. Look at Thunder Dragons.
Yeah, exactly. Necraz and Zodiacs and just those types of decks where this is going to be busted from the gate. And then there's just digital bugs or it's that's the power disparity so high. I think this would let them kind of keep it within more of a everything feels like it can at least play and compete.
Nobody has to feel cheated except for the people whose archetypes get dropped.
Oh, and archetypes get dropped.
Yeah, that is the biggest issue because once again, Vanguard's its own game and Yu-Gi-Oh! Is another. We have 200 archetypes, and every archetype's the favorite to somebody.
Yeah.
We couldn't even represent most of the archetypes in this thing we're proposing. Yeah,
that's one of the downsides. Certain stuff's not going to make the cut.
And it's very well could be your favorite.
Yeah, it could be your favorite. I mean, that and I don't know how Konami would necessarily do this out of the blue, but a lot of archetypes would just effectively be wiped out.
Yep, it'll be a culling.
And we know it would be easy for it to be Elemental Heroes, Blackwings, Six Sams, those stuff. That'd be easy because they're fan favorites. But what else deserves it?
That's a tough category.
We could argue about that all day. If you ask me, I think it should be maybe things like fan favorites, Burning Abyss and Necraz. A lot of people like that, Shaddolls. But someone could totally disagree with me. Maybe someone thinks it should be Ancient Gears and Gladiator Beasts.
And the idea behind archetypes is so different between Yu-Gi-Oh! And Vanguard. Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetypes are made kind of in a short-minded, a short-term idea. They're supposed to only have a set number of monsters. They don't leave themselves a lot of room to just kind of keep getting support over the years.
Yeah.
I think that's crazy.
I think also, I mean, would this get boring over time, you know?
It does mean a slower kind of...
It's a slow trickle, and if you just feel like you get bored with the themes, then there's nothing,
I mean,
you know?
In a perfect sense, because like not every deck's even going to get the support at the same time, it means that every time a set drops, something's about to change.
That's true. I think also, what happens with like staples? What happens with the generic, just kind of like, this isn't an archetype card, like, I guess the Nordens of the game, or the...
Our Monster Reborn.
You know, just those types of cards, like, would they maybe potentially disproportionately affect, like, one archetype and kind of disrupt the balance?
Well, that's what generic cards already do for Yu-Gi-Oh!
Truth.
Like, generic cards, things like Firewall, they help some. They're very good, but they are better in some decks than they are in others. And... generics are a good thing for like creativity purposes, but not for balance.
Yeah, not so much. So that would be something that I think would be really tough to balance out.
I would say generics would be the last thing implemented.
So maybe at the end of the cycle is when kind of the generic stuff comes out only at the end.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be something that's like amazingly busted. It'll be something that's easily creepable by the next cycle.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I get it. That sounds good. What do you guys think? What do you feel like? How do you feel about this idea? Is this something that would be like a good change for Yu-Gi-Oh? Because it allows you to get that guarantee that your deck will get support and the decks will be more balanced and like you know it. Or
are we out of our depth and you think we're crazy?
Yeah. I mean, would it be bad? Like, what happens to all these archetypes that have to get cold? Would this get boring? You know, would this just be a worse thing? Like, because there is still power creep.
Would Yu-Gi-Oh just get worse?
Yeah, hard to say. But I definitely think it'd be interesting. You know, how would Konami implement it? I thought speed duels. I think speed duels would be cool.
Speed duels are amazing, really.
Because when they come out, I think Konami will have sort of a little bit of control. It's fresh, and they can like control it. You know, kind of like Duel Links was.
But you know, hopefully better.
Yeah, hopefully better. We'd like to know. Let us know down in the comments.
Just drop it on in.
Speaking of down there, we do have, before we go, this box of 2018 Mega 10s. They came late. We haven't done an opening video on these, as you guys obviously know, but we've got a lot of them, and we tried to think of like what an interesting way to open these are, because let's face it, this set isn't.
It's not amazing.
Yeah.
But we do have them.
So we'll have Trell, and I think we'll have Alex, and we'll try to maybe do like a opening pack war battle like usual.
If you guys have any ideas, go ahead and drop that in the comments too.
Yeah.
What should we do with this box? And no, we can't just give it away.
And no, like we will be uploading that video probably tomorrow, so like we will read the comments for sure.
End phase.
Yes. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up.
Hit that bell icon. Join the squad.
It's gonna be it. So without further ado,
we'll see you in the next one.
pass turn.